anyway, conversation. I read your document. You wrote a piece. You wrote in 2024. I think you put the link today and then ask people to go and check it out. Establishing the Southeast Development Commission, a path to economic revival.
Wow, the research is something else.
In this document, you mentioned something that has to do with the Civil War. I think more than 3 times. First of all, you even actually acknowledged that the bill was first introduced in National Assembly in June 2016, which seeks to reconstruct and rehabilitate infrastructure damages suffered by the region during the war. And then there was another place you still mentioned the war and everything. And that brings us to the Biafran conversation. Whether you like it or not, whatever your job is, if you do it well, there will be a lot of coming of nerves. Okay, they have remembered us. Okay, okay, just like the Igbo presidency that we're seeking. When we hear Bono Imeketa, some of these people will be like, okay, So part of your job is to also even do something that could calm the national haga and everything. We are avoiding this Biafran conversation, which brings us to the person of Nnamdi Kanu. What is your position as we must have that conversation. We can't keep avoiding it. What is your position? A traditional ruler in front of the president. Some people say he had the privilege to say something else, and what he was asking is for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. And some of us know that there was a time even Soludo went for this. It was released. I saw a signboard at ABS Junction. Soludo said, if you want peace in Southeast, release Nnamdi Kanu. That was embodied. Get the position of the SCDC. Can we have this Nnamdi Kanu's conversation? Or do you think it's irrelevant? Go ahead.
Well, the truth is, when I speak to you here, I speak partly as Mark Okoye, the young man who's from the region, from Anambra State, but I'm also speaking as the head of a federal government agency.
I understand.
Where we have to follow due processes, and the government, a process has been, in fact, an arm of government has followed its process. There's also been quite some pleas by political leaders from the region on their own decision on what to do around him, as the case may be. We're young men. I am of the opinion, right, that the crux of this issue of agitation, feelings of marginalization, is purely an underdevelopment issue. For me, if we had trains going from here to Enugu and you could come there in 40 minutes, you had gas being piped from Imo, powering industries here, you had international flights from the Southeast to China, to Beijing, to London, to America. You had investments coming into the region, Money Point, Space Stack, all of these entities. Flutterwaves were young men who are here and created it here and live here. My brother, we will not have any of these issues. So I think, I'm of the opinion strongly that this is the first time the Southeast has a federal government agency that has said, that has recognized that there was a civil war and there were promises made to Igbo land, right?
Yes.
And that used this vehicle to fulfill some of those promises.
Yes.
If we're small thinking, we'll be looking at, 140 billion. Let me explain that 140 billion. If I'm just a figure, right? At best, even if it was 100% implemented, right? I.e., we got 140 billion in a year. That is under $100 million.
It is.
The concept design for the Southeast Regional Rail is $6 billion. One that connects all the Southeast states and gives us connectivity to the Port Harcourt Maiduguri line, and potentially can even go through Cross River and connect to Cameroon, Douala, and all of that. That's a $6 billion project. That's 9 trillion naira. That's almost 30, 40 times the 1 year allocation. So we have to, but if we understand how to use finance, we can take a bit of that money, make that project appealing to international financiers. Make that project appealing to international funds and to our people to also invest in bringing those things. I'm of the opinion that a lacuna was created and it was then capitalized on. My view is that we have this platform. My duty is to see how we take this conversation. And not my duty, I mean, when I say my duty, I mean our collective duty is to see how we move this conversation from a point of grievance, anger, and channel all that energy to development and imagination, i.e., focused on humanity and then looking forward, right? Biafra, the truth about Biafra, and I look at around the room and I see perhaps only one person that may be closer to that generation. We were raised hearing uncles, aunties speak about the pains of that war, right? And we also saw them make emotional decisions, or decisions that were informed by that pain. When we look at the last 40 years, with that being on the mind, can we say that the Southeast is maximizing its potential? I don't think so. So my view is that we've tried a certain way from those who are closest and experienced it, or those who came after and were quite close to those memories. I'm of the opinion that the Igbo man of today, of the modern era, the Igbo lady of the modern era, needs to say, are we going to go on this same cycle and do the same things our parents and their generation did? Or are we going to break away from that mindset and say, we can do something together and it could be really powerful? This is mine. This is my view.
You know, a lot of people could say, you know, we've tried this now. You know, after the war ended, 70, there was 80, 90. You know, okay, we don't accept, say, let's reintegrate. What did it benefit us and everything? And then through the 90s, some people will say that we've actually tried to say, okay, we don't agree now. But you see, from 70s to the 90s, still the likes of Wazirike reared up his head in 1999. Won't you actually bite their sentiment that Ndi Igbo actually have tried to actually say, Nigeria, okay, we are with you, but it seems we're still not being reintegrated fully? You just said it 54 years ago. Gowon said 3 hours we would reconstruct, reconcile, rehabilitate. But you know, according to that your very document, you say that some of these things were not even achieved. If I can quote you rightly, you know, has it been achieved? How do you plan on? You say some of those things, despite this commitment, many promises were not fully realized due to limited resources, bureaucratic influences, and political complexities. You know, you actually captured it, actually. So won't you actually buy to some people say, we've actually accepted to actually be in one country, but it seems we're not being favored? What do you tell some of those our parents are saying, but we've tried to be here, but if like say they don't want us to be here?
Well, it's quite an interesting one. I'm thinking as you are asking.
You're thinking.
I would say.
Let's try again.
I would say we have to keep trying. We have to keep trying. I would also say we have a great opportunity now, in the sense that I think as a batch, we have some of the best political leaders as governors,
right,
in Nigeria today.
Right?
Yes, definitely. I start, you know, in the time when I compare the different batches, having worked across 3 batches of governors, so what we have in the Southeast, it's a huge opportunity to do a lot of good. And just even the way, in my view, insecurity was handled in the last year or so, you can tell that there's some regional architecture where our governors are working together to make that, to achieve that, right? I think this conversation on marginalization, some deserved, in the sense that, yes, we feel like there are things that could have happened but weren't done, 70s, 80s, but the grit, because there are 2 things you need to compare. There are 2 things happening at the same time. The grit of the Igbo man, being able to bounce back immediately after the war, and was already vice president, was already in businesses, was already senate this and all of that, you know, rebuilt parts of the region with some support even of federal government at the time, because a lot of these roads were also being done at that time. But there's also the decisions taken by political leadership. Let me give you an example. Let me just give you a simple example. There are 6 zones in this country, right? 6 zones, geopolitical zones. In power and government and politics, you cannot make an assumption, right, that the country owes something to you. It is trade by barter. Do your votes come in to set up the government? That's one. If you did, yes, tick. Second one, what is your game when you walk into a room that has representation from all the other regions? People are horse trading. Some people will say, when it comes to this gas, so let all of us come together and vote. We'll support you to get it in this region. If you give us this one, when they want to site a new port, you put it in our region. Whilst we say there's been marginalization, which I don't doubt that there probably has been, I'm always from a school of thought where I ask myself, before I point a finger at someone that they did something to me, how much did I prepare? And in this case, preparation means how much did we organize? How much did we organize and come together and say, let's strategize. What do we want? Governor Soludo made reference to a Marshall Plan in Enugu. A Marshall Plan. What he meant by that, in my view, that plan should have come a long time from the leadership of the Southeast, before this generation of leaders. A plan that says, we all discussed, all the political leaders of the region have discussed. We've accepted that, yes, we've been marginalized, but we want to end this call for this agitation and what have you.
Secession.
However, to do so, give us 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what Governor Soludo was referring to. That's a structured conversation. But if there is lack of organization and putting yourselves together, how can someone take you seriously? So it's a two-way street, whilst I do empathize, I've felt it too. I'm a young guy who's Igbo also. And I also do recognize the amazing achievements we've made to rebound after that event. But I think that there's a deeper strategic game that we need to play as it relates to politics, power, and governance, that I am seeing very strong signs that is being played now. It's a cryptic message.
It is actually devoid of emotions. You need to play the game devoid of emotions.
To all my brothers in America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and across the globe, chetakwa na akuro uno, amala onye kpatala ya. Think home, think Pine Leaf Estate and Properties Limited. Okwa ni ifele ni nwela na be nna yi. Secure a land and secure your future with Pine Leaf Estate and Properties Limited. Dalo.